Good morning, coffee moaners. Welcome to our channel. Please do us a little favour just quickly and hit the subscribe button because it helps us out
Hello,
enormously.
good morning.
And it doesn't cost you anything.
Welcome if you're listening on podcast. If you haven't, hit the 5-star bell. Otherwise, I'm going to come round and hit you. I'm not literally.
Oh, God.
Oh,
you'll have the police round.
God, I'm a terror attacker.
You'll have the police round.
I might blow my nose and accidentally say Gaza and I'll be a terrorist.
Right, government says we are to have more babies. Mark touched on this at the end of the show yesterday, but we think there's more to be said about that.
Yeah, we want to talk about that.
Yep, the heat wave, because everybody loves to moan a little bit about the heat.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I keep looking at statistics saying it's the hottest ever, and then it's not quite the hottest ever. And then you think, are we all getting our knickers in a twist about nothing?
Yeah, actually, our youngest said yesterday, Mom, have you noticed that whenever it's a hot day, everybody always says it's the hottest day ever?
Yeah.
She goes, is it actually true? I said,
I want to talk about, rather than the European heat wave, I want to talk about European hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to look at Bob Vylan and Kneecap. Criminal probes have started, are being conducted, and the fallout from Glastonbury. I mean, we've literally got people calling for Glastonbury to be cancelled. People have lost the plot. People are losing their shit. The days of protest have gone. What is happening to this world? Palestine action, everything. It's all falling apart, and we want to share in that with you. It's just bonkers. And we've got a few funny clips at the end too. I want to show you, I just want to pop this image up. I popped this on my stories a couple of days ago. And the reason I want to pop it up is it makes me feel really nice. This is the watercolor palette of my old friend, Jim.
It's a beautiful photo.
And I found this at my mum's flat. And the reason I wanted to put that up there is I don't talk about Jim. No one will ever know Jim again. And I just thought, wow, look, that's where he plopped his brush for the last time.
You'll know, those of our regular viewers will know the really big painting, abstract painting that's on the wall just around the corner. It's going to go in the movie now. That's Jim.
Miss you, Jim.
Dads come in very many different ways.
Yeah, they do.
Don't they? And different
I get a lot of my stupid slapstick comedy, not only from Eric Morecambe, but from Jim. I'd stay the night with him some nights. I remember waking up one night about 4 a.m. He'd made some very hefty martinis the night before. He was, I realised in retrospect that he was an alcoholic.
I worry that he started your alcoholism.
We connected over jazz, we connected over art, and he supported Arsenal and I supported Tottenham. And he used to smoke rollies and we used to natter away in Islington. And anyway, I remember waking up one night and he was at the door for ages. And I woke up and I went, oh, and he had a gorilla's mask on. And he just stood there, laughed and went to bed.
I'm not going to say the name of the ex, but one of your exes, and you'll know which one I mean. One with the bit.
Oh yes, yeah.
Did he like her?
No.
Oh.
No, he liked her sister.
I think I would have liked him.
He would have absolutely.
I would have really
adored
liked him.
you.
And he used to cook in Le Creuset's.
Yes. I mean, he was a fabulous cook.
I feel like I know him.
I
never met him.
That's a really good point. My only experience of good food was whenever I went to Jim's. And you'd go into the kitchen and you'd literally have Miles Davis or John Coltrane or
cooking,
someone jazz playing, and it would be cooking.
Isn't it funny? And then you married someone who loves a Le Creuset.
I know,
but you never eat a stew.
And
which is what you need a Le Creuset for.
No, that's true. He's a fabulous artist.
So, anyway. How are you all feeling? Shall we have a little bit of a moan about the weather first? I am now actually in the most perfect spot with that fan.
Is that fan all right with you guys, or is it causing an audio nightmare? Because I don't know, I'm not entirely sure where the mics pick up on this.
If it's really annoying, we'll move it.
Yeah, it's.
So how are we all feeling? Mark slept downstairs yesterday on the sofa. He couldn't bear it. I made a mosquito net. Because last night when I went to bed, I said, I've got to have the window open, and immediately found a mosquito like that. Honest to God, it was just about to puncture me. So I took it and squeezed it with my bare fingers, very sort of like,
Yeah.
And then I made my own mosquito net and covered the window with gaffer tape.
And I spent most of the night erotically charged because you'd made it out of some knickers.
Erotically? What the hell are you talking?
Every time I looked out towards the window,
I'd in the middle of coffee moaning.
You can. That's what people come here for.
Oh my God.
And I thought, is that a pair of Nance's knickers stretched across the window?
Fucking cheap for a start, because it'd have to be a size 64 for them to be my knickers. I think it's a stretch. Tenuous link. Anyway, how are you managing with the heat, everybody? Come on, let's have a couple of minutes of
Laura
moaning.
Lou has put a cardigan on and my socks today. Chilly in northeast Scotland, but there are wildfires raging in Scotland.
Are there?
Yes. Apparently there's a genuine threat to life somewhere up in, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not cold. Nickonets, says Red Pill 79, wake up.
Casey Smith says, I hate this extreme heat. My body can't cope. I wonder if you're on any medication, because so many medications as well make heat completely impossible to bear. Did you know that?
No, but I do tell you, Carol, I'm not suggesting you are on antidepressants. Anyone who is on antidepressants, do be warned. Hot weather really interferes and exacerbates. In fact, ends up
for you, not for everybody.
No, not for everyone. No, but they have issued actual public health warnings about people who are on SSRIs
some
and
people,
stuff. Yeah, you know, if you find yourself feeling really, really, you know, sort of weighed down more than normal, then it is going to be the heat. Carol Lewis, oh God, I had a shit day yesterday. Sounds pathetic, but I had extreme fatigue due to my medication.
Yeah, there you
Can't
go.
wait to get off
and
that.
Also, ADHD medication really raise your temperature. I was watching one of these, what my doctor said he would never do in the summer. And one of the things actually was alcohol. In this heat, we all know we shouldn't drink a lot, but really, 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 honestly, if you're sat out in the garden and you're drinking, your hangover is going to be so much worse. And actually the overheating and everything. So if you're sitting outside and sort of having a bottle of wine between the two of you at night, that's not going to help.
The one thing I love about being sober is waking up in this heat and not having that really sticky, clammy regret.
On Sunday, we were all like that, weren't we? The kids were here, their boyfriends were here, and we were all just going, think of all the people with a hangover today.
Zoe Agnew said, I caught up on the Sunday show. It was a wonderful Sunday show on a Monday night, which was on Tuesday last week, wasn't it? It was really good. I caught up on the Sunday show and it was 31 degrees in London, but it was 100 degrees in the Sawalha-Adderleys last night. It certainly was, wasn't it, Nads?
Mark! She's talking about the fact that I was cooking.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was. Oh.
Anyway, carry on.
It's definitely 100 degrees at least down there. Alcohol and extreme heat don't mix well. Red Pill 79. I haven't seen you before, but I'm loving your very blunt comments. They're going down well. Thank you. When it's hot like this, says Lucy, I carry my Ventolin inhaler on my person at all times. Frightening. Not feeling like you can breathe.
Yes, I forget about that, but with asthma, all these things, and because then with all the pollen and everything as well, horrid.
I'm going to show you a clip.
There we go.
I'm going to show you a funny.
We've had
a good moan. I'm going to show you a funny, and then we're going to move into the kind of the topics that we've got in the title. I just want to show you this. This has been doing the rounds. Some of you may have seen it. I've changed the music, but you know what? I'm needing to look to other species now for warmth and comfort when it comes to humanity. Man is going viral for the banana. Very just watch.
Oh my God. Oh. No.
Have you seen appreciation like that?
That was beautiful. Oh, we all feel heart-warmed now, don't we?
We have to look to other species to see humanity.
No, we don't. There's
Sometimes
plenty of great humans.
So yeah, that was lovely, wasn't it? Well, monkeys are simian species and they are closest to humans, so not surprising they know our ways, Reese.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, really lovely. His appreciation was so nice. Okay, well, let's talk about the government saying let's have more babies. I don't know why. I'm just going to be blunt, because sometimes it's in this multimedia, independent media world, you've got to be blunt just to kind of fucking I just want to say what I feel. Bridget Phillipson, the education minister, urges more young people to have children amid worrying birth rates. And my first instinct when I heard this was, fuck off.
Okay.
No, but do you get me? These fucking politicians who feel that they can somehow tell us or virtue signal. And why is she saying, so why does she say this? She says this, have more children, says Bridget Phillipson. Official data shows that fertility rates in England and Wales dropped to 1.44 children per woman in 2023. What it needs to be at for kind of self-sustaining tax financial reasons of an economy keeping going is around 2.1, so much higher. So it's at a critical rate. Fertility rates are the lowest level since records began in 1938. And so she said, the UK faces a big challenge with the very steep decline that we're seeing in the birth rate. We need to address it, and that involves thinking about practical steps the government can take to support people to make the right choices.
Hang on, go back. The right choices.
Make the choices, that are right for them.
Or is it right for you? Because we have been telling you, and I know we just touched on this yesterday, we didn't go into any depth, and we wanted to find out what you thought. Or is that the right for you? Because
who's it right for?
It is, the whole of life is becoming so unaffordable. And as somebody said here yesterday, we're doing the right thing by saying we can't afford this.
Yeah.
And you start with any government, decent childcare, affordable childcare, because whether you want to go back to work or whether you don't want to go back, people are being forced to give up their jobs because it costs more to put your child into childcare, sometimes for some people, doesn't it, than what they would get paid. Start with that. Look to other countries that are pulling this off for their population, because there are plenty of other countries that do give decent childcare. That's number one. Food prices, absolutely horrendous. And I always say, since Brexit, but I'm sure I'll be shouted down for that, shrinkflation. We've all seen the prices of our food go sky high, but so much of it seems to be smaller.
I think, I tell you what I think is really,
food and childcare are two things that people need to be able to have. Also, a belief that the government actually cares about the future of the planet, because having teenagers, it ain't the easiest thing in the world explaining to them about how this world is going to carry on. So there is a feeling of real depression, apathy in young people about, if I have a child, what's the world going to offer this child?
And also, there's a comment, I just want to read Natasha's comment in a second, but also I think one of the other things, we've talked about this a lot, we talked about it in lockdown, I think the government seems to have in nearly every single category and department zero capacity for human imagination, human comprehension, or what it is that makes humans tick. All politicians get to the point where but the vast majority of those in control, unfortunately, seem to only think of things. God, you've become Miss Diplomat today, haven't you?
Well, because I don't like to say all, because there's lots of really decent, hardworking
but the vast majority that we hear from, the ones that make stupid fucking statements like this, everyone is a bean counter. Nothing, there's no human emotional contingent to anything they're talking about. The biggest problem, I think, with all of this is all the old narratives of promise have gone out the window. Education, you come out massively in debt. Buying a home, it's not the same as it used to be. That narrative doesn't exist. Job security, regardless of if you can find a job, companies aren't operating in the same way where you stay with them for 40 years, essentially a sort of, a slave of sorts, but you get your pension so that when you retire, you live for 10 minutes and then you keel over dead.
Look at what just happened to ITV, 350 people just made redundant, just like that. There's no security anywhere with us.
So I think so I had a lot of people ringing in when I heard this on the radio the other day, and they were saying, well, our generation, they were all people my age or a bit older, kind of going, we knew where we had to make sacrifices. Everyone wants everything now. And I was thinking, yeah, but hang on a minute. You could actually sign up to the narrative of life, because back when we were younger, it was the narrative of life. Buy a home, do this, do that, potentially have a pension, all that kind of stuff, unless you are fucking creatives, in which case you don't. So all of those narrative promises of life, all of those kind of things that people grew up and lived for, are going. Not for, and this is what really gets me. Not for those people who are politicians or for whom the system really works. And we've talked about this before. More and more you hear from the right-wing press and you hear from politicians for whom this system works. But for the vast majority of people, the system doesn't work. And the Natasha comment that I wanted to read, there's also no village anymore. So parents are more isolated than ever, and this makes raising a child much more challenging and quite lonely, I'd have thought at times. So there's not just, a lot of people often say, yes, it's the cost. Yes. And then a young woman rang into this radio show I was listening to, and she said, I'm really sick to death of listening to principally men saying, well, back in my day, you just need to economize and you need to make sacrifices.
Stop saying back in your day. It was so much easier back in your day.
And one guy said, I came in the morning, worked all day. Then when I landed, my wife went out and worked all night. She said, okay, that's incredibly virtuous that you did that, but I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
And because I don't want to do that doesn't mean I don't want to work hard. She said the reason she wasn't having children was the most responsible decision she was making, and actually was a responsible decision, because you could argue that the baby boomer generation that just went free sex, free love, free pensions, free everything is precisely why we're in this fucking mess. Stephanie, my eldest is 20. No improvements in all those years. Our governments in that time have shown they do not care for the society they are supposed to represent.
Is there anybody here that is actually in the childcare hell thing at the moment, the costs? It's just, and then, I remember a couple of years ago, Dina was helping a friend of hers, because we're older, we don't know people really with young children, trying to find a childminder. So it will go around that there's a good childminder.
Yeah.
And it's like waiting lists for a decent child, because that's often a much more affordable way to do it. They're still so expensive.
Dawn Decker makes a really good point. So why do they need us to increase production of children? So that there's more money going through the revenue system, so that we can, and not all of that doesn't make sense. It does. You need to be able to pay for pensions, state pensions, NHS, all that kind of stuff. But I would argue that then we need to make different priorities about what our tax and all the revenue is put into. As Dawn Decker says, half the time they're telling people to prepare for war, then telling us to have more children.
Yeah.
They're also cutting child support for families having +2 children.
Yes, I've forgotten about that.
So confusing. So when these statements float out of Keir Starmer's atrocious government, I literally want to slap myself with a kibber. But
also, it's just like not statements we're wanting to hear, but it's like there's so many other things we want to know about, and it's just, I don't know. We're still in the situation. We've got a very lovely GP. We're lucky, but we're still in the situation where many people cannot, for love nor money, get an appointment with their GP. So, just thinking about that and having a baby and the state of our hospitals, and there's just nothing to actually convince a person that's thinking, I better not. Okay, if you're really going to want a child, you're going to have a child. But if you're trying to reach the people that are sort of just like a bit wobbly about it all, there is nothing concrete on the table.
No.
Simple as that.
No, and I actually think they're making taking a responsible decision.
Yes.
That's before. So that's all the practicalities. I think this is Reese Roberts' mum, Coral. Hi, Coral. How are you? I used to pay, I guess, $595 a week when Reese was 4 months old until he was 2 years old. Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow, sweetheart. Good God.
Bloody hell.
Natasha, again, it's so lonely when you don't have siblings or the support of grandparents.
God.
There have also been so many issues with nursery staff being abusive that it's so scary because it's hard to trust anyone.
That was like me. It was like, I was thinking, oh God, until they can speak. But then when they can speak, everything is scary, isn't it? Everything is just, we're not feeling in a safe world, and I hate to bring up COVID, but for anybody that thinks there's not really just still a bit of a hum in all of us about that, it just made everything feel precarious, didn't it?
Absolutely.
That just like everything could be snatched away in a second. All these things pulled together are none of the things they're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and also I think the other thing to sort of thread into this as well is we assume that youngsters, I'm thinking of our young adults and everything, a lot of, all my daughters, lots of young adults that I talk to, what the governments need to understand is their view of the world isn't one of ship-shaped assuredness. We have climate change. There's an existential angst. And people hear the word existential and they go, oh, that's a bit wanky.
Well, especially when you can't say it like me.
But it's a literal thing. We all have existential angst. We all think about death. But if you just look at the TikTok reels and films, and I'm not talking about the silly stunts and that, but some of the meaningful content of which there is loads. Maddie goes through it most times on the Sunday show. Lots of it is threaded through with a real fear and sadness and kind of perception of what is going on in the world. And it isn't positive. And these politicians have the imagination of a fucking table leg. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We need politicians that have humanity depth and have perhaps had an existential angst moment themselves. Jesus Christ.
Lynn, you're saying that your son is 33 this year and that they haven't had children yet. Is that due to any of the things we've been discussing here? Would they like them? But it's just like, how the hell do we afford them? And the other thing is, we say that people can't buy houses, but the rents are horrendous. And, I was listening a while back to a couple that had just done everything, inverted commas, right, gone through their education, both got their degrees, got the, and they're just stuck in a trap of never being able to improve where they live or anything. So, let's keep spending trillions of dollars, world, on wars that no country can afford. And then maybe your people are going to be happier and more settled and more able to do this little thing that you want them all to do, which is to procreate. I mean, Elon Musk going on and on about everybody's got to have babies as well. It's just get real. Have a look at what people's lives are actually like.
Yeah, Chief Wiggum, I saw your comment go up. I wanted to hold it, but I wanted to keep up with the chat. Could you repost what you said earlier? I do want to read it. What you were saying about Keir Starmer. And the people who defended. I was listening to, oh my God, I'm going to now make the mistake of The Trawl. I was listening to the Trawl podcast this morning. And I thought they were sensational about Palestine action, because I don't know if you saw yesterday, there's been a stay of, not execution, but a stay of decision until I think the 5th of July. I think there's an appeal hearing. And I just thought it was really refreshing to hear, strong opinions about the fact that what's happening with Palestine action is an absolute overreach of governmental control of any form of protest. The simplest thing.
Juliet Stevenson also today has done a good op-ed piece in The Guardian about it. Yeah.
And I'm just seeing if Chief Wiggum, I don't know, maybe you've left the room. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to scroll back up. I just want to read what you said because few people realize that actually Keir Starmer defended, basically there was a group of people or a group of activists. I'm not too sure if one of them is actually part of Palestine Action now. He was the lawyer that defended a person who vandalized and damaged a RAF plane during the Iraq War. And
somebody mentioned this.
And his defense was on the grounds of they had a moral right to fight against something that they felt was an immoral war.
Wow.
And so we need
to get that. Where is that?
Where has that philosophy or attitude vaporized
Well,
to?
it's like we're constantly saying he was the prosecutor for the genocide in Serbia. I mean, how can he say? He's just to us, he's made himself completely irrelevant.
They're both great on the trawl as well. They say, there's a moment where they just, what the fuck has happened to what?
What's happened to Kistana?
What has happened to? I mean, on a more sort of on a personal level, if I was a relative of his, I'd be like, is he all right?
I don't know how he is. He all
I mean, his eyes look weird. He looks scared. He looks like he's a rabbit caught in headlights. It's almost like someone's got some info about. I'm not suggesting this is the case, but like maybe he's got a love child somewhere, or he's got something in his life.
He's very nervous.
He's very nervous.
Did you see him just panicking, picking up all those papers around Trump's
feet? Oh no, that was his GIMP moment. No, Trump paid him to do that. You could hear the squeak of latex.
Stop.
Anyway,
okay,
we're
going
to
guys.
We're going to talk about that. So Bob Vylan and Kneecap criminal probes. Let me just find the story. You wanted to say something?
No, I was just reading Victoria. My 24-year-old stepdaughter's just moved back home because she can't afford to live. So has she got to have babies while living with us?
Yeah.
I can't see our girls moving out forever.
Yeah, but
the cost of London.
But also there comes a point. But there also comes a point that if you like your kid, I mean, again, it's this weird thing of if you like your kids and you can live with somebody. We're very lucky. We have a big enough place where there's a sense of distance. But I mean, why would you encourage your kids to break themselves financially to keep another landlord somewhere, kind of, living in a
and this is what other cultures are much better at. In other cultures, they will suffer together. They will live in a really small place together. Brothers and sisters, they will all stick together until they can save enough money to then move out. And that's a big cultural difference. We don't really do that in this country, do we?
No. Zoe, did you see that Orbital did the musicality to one of Kneecap's tracks? I love that. I love the connection. If you watch the film Kneecap, Belfast, the greatest Orbital track ever, features in the soundtrack.
Do watch the movie The Kneecap.
Please watch.
Don't forget tomorrow. Very important. It's Medics. Medics, the one that the documentary the BBC
bottled it,
shoved under the carpet, and Channel 4 have bought it. So the most viewing figures, even if you're doing something else, just turn it on. We've got a show that we want to see.
I think it's on at 10 o'clock, and we're going to be doing a live review, reaction, and chat straight afterwards. And then after that, we have our own interview with someone that's very important for you to listen to too. Just on the Glastonbury thing, I heard yesterday late afternoon that Somerset and Avon Police have confirmed, where's the chat gone? Have confirmed that a criminal probe is happening into the chants and statements, not only of Bob Vylan, but also of Kneecap too. We're in a situation now where a leading rabbi in the country has called for Glastonbury to be cancelled. And of course, some people are suggesting that because Glastonbury isn't on next year, that this is some kind of response. It was always not going to be on next year. Next year is what they call a fallow year, where they let the ground, it's a farm, where they let the farmland recuperate, recover, and then there will be a resurgent push. I have to say, I am deeply, deeply disappointed in Emily Evis conflating an anti-IDF chant. No one should be chanting death to anyone. We disagree with that. But I do think the conflation of death to the IDF with an anti-Semitic trend, you fall foul and you trip into the very Zionist bear trap that keeps being laid for everyone, which is if you have any critical stance on anything in Israel, you are somehow anti-Semitic. Not
many messages under various posts from Jewish people, humanitarians, just horrified that it's being used again, the word anti-Semitism in something. We are seeing what the army is doing.
I've also
it's something. It is as we have to keep saying, because otherwise people get their knickers so much in a twist they can't literally breathe. That's why we have to keep repeating. We do not think it's right to say death to anyone, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy. If we could just show you what we see all the time, that it's too much for you to see of what the IDF are doing, you would,
Me too. I just want to share this good point. I may not agree with what they said, but I defend their right to say it.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Well, I just want to share with you another thought. I had the most invidious experience yesterday of listening to Sheila Fogarty inviting onto her radio show Katie, is it Sarah Vine or Katie Hine, to talk about the whole crowd sensibility around Kneecap and around Bob Vylan. And I've never heard two people simply come on to generate a mythological connection between the two bands. It was like, you know, there was the suggestion that there was a kind of plan and there was a this and there was a that. I've never listened to more clearly propagandized material in a long time. It was poor journalism, conservative journalism. I had to write in and say, you're talking about the anger of a crowd. They talked about how angry the crowd was.
Read out your message that you sent into LBC.
Okay, let me read you the message I sent into LBC. They saw it, but they didn't read it.
Of course they did.
And I said, have you, dear Sheila Fogarty, have you at all paused to ask yourselves why so many people might have been angry at the Bob Vylan gig? The IDF has systematically been breaking international laws and routinely executing aid seekers. Once again, your discussion about an angry crowd in no way tries to understand why they and the singer might be cross. You are calling out a chant and not calling out a genocide. Once again, the mainstream media behaving predictably and conservatively.
Well done.
It was,
and I think we have to go to Rachel Shabby again, who is such a damn fine woman. She has can you imagine? She's Jewish. Can you imagine what hell she's getting from some parts of her community, Mark? We all know who I mean when I say that.
Yes.
But and that group. But she's brave, she's bold, and she says things as they are. And this was on LBC yesterday.
The panel more about the weekend in Glastonbury, the controversial performance itself, I won't mention the performers' names, well done, or the enthusiasm from the crowd.
Truthfully, what disturbs me the most is the media bandwidth given to this subject. Just this weekend, we've had some of the deadliest bombardments on Gaza by Israel, carpet bombing Gaza, schools where people are sheltering were bombed. A cafe where people were seeking shelter from the heat was bombed. On Friday, Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, had a report where Israeli soldiers said, actually, yes, we are shooting to kill civilians. In a weekend where we've had these two things on top of a 20-month-long war described as genocide by genocide experts, it is absolutely shameful and a disgrace that the media is focusing on this and not having the headlines running day after day on the atrocities that are being committed in Gaza.
No one could sum it up more perfectly, succinctly, or beautifully. She's
a Jewish woman that will be called a self-hating Jew for that beautifully put, concise, truthful,
restrained as well.
Restrained, as I said to Mark, she says what we say, but obviously we are. I'm not as controlled, but that's exactly what we think.
You see, when I hear Keir Starmer talking, and when I see Yvette Cooper talking, and Zionism and Netanyahu and all these people in the Israeli government who come out and spill out this genocidal hate. Say. When I hear all of that, what they demand from what they make me feel is fury and rage. But if you articulate that rage, this is what happens with Bob Vylan and Kneecap. You get characterized as extremist,
emotional. You're very emotional. If one more person says to me, I'm emotional, I'm going to say, if you're calling me emotional in a derogatory term, it means you have no emotions.
But if you're not emotional, and you're peaceful and you're calm, nothing changes.
Nothing. That's what Juliet Stevenson says in her article today. She said, we have tried everything.
Yeah.
We have tried everything, and there is just no shift, not even the word outraged at what's happening.
No shift whatsoever, which is unspeakably evil. Our
government in the 3 days that we have been debating what was right and wrong about a singer sentence, the IDF have killed minimum, those are with the bodies that are able to be counted, 200 civilians. That's minimum. Because when we're given these numbers of how many died in the cafe or how many, remember, the healthcare system is fucked, right? They shoot at the ambulances. So all the people that are mortally, well, not mortally means you don't, doesn't it? Horrifically injured, they're going to die as well. It's just not going to go on the body count within those two. So in those 3 days, 200 bodies that we know of have been killed. Carpet bombing, sniping, quadriceptors, whatever those horrible things are. But but what they have done is they have kept everybody engaged into, even what's his name, Ian Dale. Pathetic. Oh, well done for not mentioning their name. Do you mention Netanyahu's name ever?
Yeah,
what with an arrest warrant out for his war crimes? You'd mention his name. It's
fake nonsense. I mean, I'll tell you what, there is such an unspeakable rot at the heart of our society, at the heart of government, at the heart of the mainstream media. We have, it's almost, sometimes when I'm feeling favorable to the automaton that is Starmer, the genocide charmer, Starmer, the genocide charmer, as I call it. When I look at, sometimes when I'm favorable, I think to myself, perhaps, just perhaps, he's got so far in, he's so denied it, he's so not acknowledged it, he's so been a part of sustaining it, that he cannot really, to turn around and give it any space for it, implicates himself entirely.
Because they're sewing a twist around all of their legs. Yeah. They're standing there with their legs crossed, still giving us the same old shit they've been giving us for 20 months.
Let me just show you. I just want to show you this moment, also from LBC on the Andrew Marr show, I believe. I think it's the head of, or deputy head of the Green Party.
So I was there.
You were there. Were you waving a flag?
I was waving lots of flags, but actually I think Glastonbury is not the story here. I think genocide is the story. And we have a British government that are not just complicit, but active participants through the selling of arms, sharing of intelligence, and the fact that they will not condemn Israel's attack on Iran, and indeed the US's attack on Iran. I want Keir Starmer to step up, and I think that has to be the story here.
Well, you heard what Bob Vylan said on stage about kill the IDF. Do you support that? Do you think we should be objecting to that?
I wouldn't ever support anyone saying kill something or someone, but I also still think condemnation seems a little bit hypocritical when we're not condemning, or not enough people are condemning, the British government. I think a British government that have access to arms and are literally involved with the killing of people in terms of what those arms are being used for is a lot more serious than an artist standing on stage shouting something that I think at best you could find objectionable, but it's in no way comparable.
It's just obvious, isn't it?
It's
Big
so
people
obvious.
are talking sanely. Well done for LBC for putting this on your Instagram account.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who's that, Joe?
I think he's head of, or one of the members of the Green Party. I think he might be the deputy leader of the Green Party. The Green Party, we voted Green at the last election. The Green Party that will be absolutely beside themselves about the ecocide that is continuing alongside the genocide. As you can't be dropping these kinds of bombs for 20 months without massively affecting the planet. Anybody wants to tell us to have more babies? Emily Fitzgerald says, Keir Starmer is likely under duress. I don't think he aligns himself with Israel or with this war. I hate to say it, he does. He does. He has. And unfortunately, this is such a serious thing. A genocide doesn't come along that often. It's not two sides. You know, when a genocide does come along, it's a moment, an epochal moment in history, in society, in civilization, where really, even if you're prime minister, you know what I would be, if he just went down tools, I'm not doing this, and resigned and said it's an absolute unforgivable travesty. That's what I expect from him. Party politics is bullshit. It's why 28% of people vote for party.
I expect that from some of the MPs as well. Why aren't they resign? If they pull together, there's plenty of them that will not be agreeing with this. They should resign en masse, and that's why I have no belief in them.
No. And yes, you're right. Someone did mention Bob Vylan, the two members of the rap duo, have had their US travel work visas rescinded or cancelled by America.
By America, that has been responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths, real violence in Gaza. Do you see why we just feel like our heads want to explode at the double standardness of all the, oh, we're going to revolt, you know, we will not have in our country anybody that is condoning any violence. You're the most violent nation on the planet. You've got blood on your hands from right across the world interfering in other people's fucking countries and elections, and you are a disgrace. Don't you stand up on your podium, Mrs. Horrible Nose in the Air, I can't stand that woman, and tell us that you are revoking because you will not have violence in your country. What? You are the violent country.
Lisa Nandy, Culture Secretary, is a hypocrite. Lisa Nandy has been funded to the tune of £50,000 by the Israeli lobby. So, you know, this government is entirely compromised. They need to be wearing, I've said it before, like they have to in football, sponsored shirts saying sponsored by the IDF.
It's not difficult to find, guys. Just look it up.
Yeah.
Just look it up. Declassified is a place that you can see how much each, because they do have to say, and so it's out there how much each MP gets from.
And so much is happening that's so sinister. I just want to share this very nuanced detail here, which I posted a story about the other day. The son of the Shah, or the former Shah of Iran, was brought into the Houses of Parliament for an open-air discussion on what other potential regimes there could be in Iran. No one's sitting here as defending the regime in Iran, but just to make you understand that there is always a troubling backstory to every regime, regardless of where, including the American regimes that they want to get in. And listen to this. So the son of the Shah, who is, you know, they brought him into the House of Commons to have a rational, reasonable, democratic conversation, to air the discussion. What other possible kind of oppositions are there to the regime in Iran? This was organized by a Conservative MP and a Labour MP, which makes you think, oh, party kind of politics. But the Labour Party MP is a chap called, I believe, Luke Akehurst. Does anyone remember the Zionist that was put in to run in Durham, I think it was, by Keir Starmer, who was the former head of We Believe in Israel and Friends of Israel? So the Shah, son of the Shah, has been invited in by one of the top Zionist Israeli supporters within the Labour Party. This is happening in our so-called democracy, a slow manipulation and erosion, a constant nudging and nuzzling, regime change at the kind of administrative level of let's all sit and have a conversation. Wow. It's outrageous. This government, this Labour Party is corrupt, more corrupt, I would say, than even the Tory party, because you know what stinkers Conservative MPs are. There's never a surprise there. You even know what a stinker Farage is, but the Labour MPs pretend. I've never been more disappointed in Yvette Cooper. Never. Should we show something really funny or sweet? This young girl here.
No thanks.
Your breath stinks of bumhole.
Pardon?
Your breath stinks of bumhole.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice. My breath stinks of bumhole. Dolly.
No, two.
I need two, do I? Thank you.
Oh, so sweet. Adorable. And I now want to show you a clip that I could not believe when I saw it. It's another animal clip, and you're not going to know, we're not going to tell you why, but it relates to something that we filmed yesterday. These are birds. A bird hit a window and got injured. And then this is what happened with the other birds. What do you call it? In its flock, in its friendship group. These birds saw a person feed an injured bird. They all pretend to be injured birds.
Oh my! Oh my God! That's phenomenal.
I couldn't believe it. Look. It's, watch this one.
I did. Look as if you're gasping for breath.
No,
look as if you're gasping for breath.
No, risk your head.
Oh my God, that is
it's
brilliant.
Astonishing, isn't it?
It's crows, isn't it? They've got the same intelligence as a 7-year-old child.
Crows use cutlery.
Crows are amazing.
I saw a crow the other day. It was eating a kebab and it was drinking a Diet Coke.
Oh, shit. Anyway, guys, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And something else, we haven't decided what is going to be landing later today.
If you haven't, check out the home time last night. It's wonderful. Nadia and Dina get their knickers in a twist. Nadia speaks French to her mum and Dina as she makes a creme caramel or something. Nanny Di and I get into absolute hysterics as she sends me down to the end of her lounge, to quote my mum, in search of death. I'll just leave it at that.
Your mother's flat, man.
It's craziness.
It's going to be one of those flats where people go. It is proper one of those like Channel 4 documentary.
It's
flats.
mental. Yeah. Anyway, guys, have a lovely day. Do subscribe if you haven't. Share the channel with your friends. Tell people about us. You know, we're very, very opinionated. But if you're kind and if you're not rude, we really, really welcome all opinions. So, you know. Oh, look, that's the bird. That's the bird. They're going to be playing